All right, we are back to the final part of this final segment. This one's going to be a slightly longer segment because it's going to be a slightly more important segment. It's time for you motherfuckers to know what your rights are because nobody seems to know what they are. We're all arguing about what our rights should and shouldn't be. This is what they are.
Winning.
There is no argument. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you think. This is what it is. It is what it is, and it is what it is. So we're going to go over each of them one by one. Every goddamn amendment. All 27 of those.
Winning.
We're going to do that right now. You're going to know what they are. And you're going to be winning. Start standing up for them. Start defending them. Start telling police officers to fuck off when they violate them. Start making the sacrifices necessary to unfuck this fascist mess.
That's how winning is done.
Because, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we can we can do so. America has done other fucking weird history that shouldn't have happened before, like being a country. We probably might be able to, I don't think we're going to end global fascism without a fucking war, but who knows? Maybe we can end fascism here without a war, and we can fight the war overseas without having to fucking kill our brothers and sisters. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're far too late to fucking stop the coming fuckery, but it is what it is. Let's get into our fucking rights because you need to know what your fucking rights are. So, all right, start with the Bill of Rights. Everybody knows what we kind of, at least I hope you learned what these are in school, but nowadays I don't think you did because I know teachers that were told not to teach this shit anymore. But here's the first 10, your first 10 rights, your most basic rights. The first right, the rights that we've had since the institution of this motherfucking country, the Bill of Rights. This is a transcript. It's from the National Archives. The following text is a transcript enrolled by the original joint resolution of Congress proposing the Bill of Rights, which is a permanent display in the rotunda of the National Archives Museum. The spelling and punctuation reflects the original, right? So on September 25th, 1789, the first Congress of the United States of America proposed 12 amendments to the Constitution. The 1789 joint resolution of Congress proposing the amendments is on display in the rotunda in the National Archives Museum. You can go fucking read it yourself. 10 of the proposed 12 amendments were ratified by three-fourths of the state legislators on December 15th, 1791. The ratified articles 3 through 12, constitutes the first 10 amendments of the Constitution or the U.S. Bill of Rights. In 1992, 203 years after it was proposed, Article 2 was ratified as the 27th Amendment to the Constitution. Article 1 was never ratified. Transcription of the 1789 joint resolution of Congress proposing 12 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. Congress of the United States begun and held the city of New York on Wednesday and 4th March of the 789. The conventions of the number of states having at the time of their adopting the Constitution expressed a desire in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added, and as an extended, the ground of public confidence in the government will be best assured the beneficent ends in its institution. Resolved by the Senate House Representative of the United States of America and Congress assembled two-thirds of both houses concurring the following articles be proposed to the legislation of several states as amendments to the Constitution of the United States, all or any of these which articles were ratified by the three-fourths of the said legislation to be valid all intents and purposes as part of the said Constitution. Articles, in addition to the amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America proposed by Congress and ratified by the legislature of several states pursuant by fifth article of the original Constitution. And I'm fucking reading this word for word for fucking reason because some of you assholes don't seem to know what the fucking Constitution is. Article the first. After the first enumeration required by the first article of the Constitution, there shall be one representative for every 30,000 until the numbers. Is this the? Yeah, I thought this was the Bill of Rights, not just the fucking thing. But anyway, until the number shall be 100, after which the proportion shall be regulated by Congress. That there shall not be less than 100 representatives, nor less than one representative for every 40,000 persons, until the number of representatives shall amount to 200. After which the proportion shall be regulated by Congress. That there shall be not less than 100 representatives, nor more than one representative for every 50,000 persons.
That's how winning is done.
I think we're approaching past this. I'm not completely sure, but it is what it is. Article the second. No law varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. So They've done that before. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech
That's how winning is done.
or of the press or the right of the people to peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Article the Third or the First Amendment of the United States of America. They did that during COVID. They shut down churches and it doesn't matter how fucking dangerous it is. You do not have the right to do this. Article 4. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. All gun laws are an infringement. Here in New Hampshire, we had constitutional carry, but they could give you reckless endangerment for fucking displaying your firearms. We just signed that bill into law, nixed that. We just signed a bill into law fucking keeping your fucking vaccine passports the fuck out of New Hampshire, making it illegal. You can fuck off with that fascist garbage. You have a right to bear arms. Bear them. It doesn't tell you what kind of arms, but bear them. Article the 5th. No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. They're fucking quartering troops. They're taking Capitol Police and opening offices all around the fucking country.
You suck!
There's no need for Capitol Police offices to be outside the capital of the United States of America.
You suck!
Article the 5th. No soldier shall be in time of okay, that's the way. Article 5th. We start one up here, so it's like I'm a little discombobulated here. Article the 6th. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person, things to be seized. They're seizing people over this fucking COVID.
Winning? No.
You suck!
That is not right. That is violation of your motherfucking rights. The government is committing active treason. Active treason. There are only 3 acceptable punishments for treason, and we're not going to go over them here, or we're going to get fucking banned. Article the 7th. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in the time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offenses to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal cases to be witnessed against him, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. They do that all the fucking time, because they decide what compensation is, and that's not just compensation. It's like eminent domain type. Article the 8th. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. They're fucking putting off trials like that, especially during this COVID. It's not speedy at all. By an impartial jury of the state or district wherein the crimes shall be committed. Sometimes that ain't fucking impartial, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed by the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witness against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Especially in this Me Too, they've been having people, well, you don't have to go to the, no, that fucking person has a right to face their accuser, and that person, she should have had to gone to the fucking court, period. I don't care how she feels, I don't care how you feel, I don't care about any of that crap. The dude she accused of rape or whatever has a right to face her, and if he really did rape her, she should fucking face him in fucking court like she's supposed to, and fucking let justice be done.
That's how winning is done.
Article the 9th. In suits at common law where the value in its controversy shall exceed $20. God damn fucking computer don't write the word right.
Winning? No.
You suck!
I need to get like a closer table or something. So yeah, Article the 9th, right? In suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of a common law. There's a dude that's been to fucking court 5 times for the same.
Winning? No.
We fucking went over it here. Like they're making our Constitution Swiss cheese. Our government has committed treason, and it's time for me, you, the people of the United States, to act accordingly.
That's how winning is done.
It just is what it is. Article the 10th. Excessive bail should not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. That's a subjective thing, so I'm pretty sure I can find examples of where that's fucked up. But like giving Kyle Rittenhouse a ridiculous bail,
You suck.
just off the top of my head, I guess I didn't even have to think about it. Article the 11th. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed, denied, or disparaged, others retained by the people. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. I'm gonna make this fucking law so you don't have to, so you can't go to pursue your life by getting food at the grocery store until you get a vaccination. Boom.
You
We're
suck.
gonna make this law so until you pay me this money and get this fucking license, you can't carry your firearms. Boom.
You
You're
suck.
violating the Constitution every fucking day. You need to know your goddamn rights. You have a right to move about the country. You have a right to drive without a fucking driver's license. This has been upheld by the Supreme Court.
That's how winning is done.
Article the 12th. The power not delegated to the United States by the Constitution or prohibited in the states to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. The people in the states, not the federal government, the people in the states.
That's how winning is done.
That's what it is. The U.S. Bill of Rights, the preamble to the Bill of Rights. This is what we were reading earlier. You can go through it. All of it. We're gonna move over into the next few amendments because we're going over all of them.
That's how winning is done.
All of them.
That's how winning is done.
We're already at 11 minutes. Jesus Christ. The Constitution Amendment 11 through 27. Amendment 11. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state or by citizens the subject of foreign state. So that means you're not supposed to be able to be prosecuted by another state and citizen of another state. That's how that reads to me. This is a big one. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom at least shall not be the inhabitant of the same state with themselves. They shall name in their ballots the persons voted for as president, and in distinct ballots, the person voted for as vice president in distinct ballots. We don't vote for both of those. So Donald Trump taking Mike Pence, or Joe Biden choosing Kamala Harris, or Obama choosing Joe Biden, that is unconstitutional. You should be voting on both the president and vice president.
That's how winning is
And
done.
they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president and all persons voted for as vice president, and of the number of votes for each, which lists they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the president of the Senate. The president of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House representatives, open all certificates, and the voters shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be the president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no persons have such majority, then from the persons having the highest number not exceeding 3 of the list these voted for as presidents. The House representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president. But in choosing the president, the voters shall be taken by states and representatives from each state having one vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of members of 2/3 of the states. The majority of the states shall be necessary to choice. One vote. And if House representatives shall not choose a president whenever the right of choice shall develop upon them before the 4th day of March next following, then the vice president shall act as president, as in the case of the death or other constitutional disability of the president. The person having the greatest number of votes as vice president shall be the vice president. If such number of majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no persons have a majority, then from the 2 highest numbers of the list, the Senate shall choose the vice president. A quorum for the purpose shall consist of 2/3 of the whole number of senators, and the majority of the whole number shall be necessary to choice, but no person constitutionally ineligible to office of president shall be eligible to the vice president of the United States, superseded by the Section 3 of 20th Amendment. So that means even if there was not fraud, the election was farce. I didn't vote for fucking vice president.
Winning? No.
She was chosen. That's unconstitutional. Amendment 13. A portion of Article 4, Section 2 of the Constitution was superseded by the 13th Amendment. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except its punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any places subject to the jurisdiction. I mean, I don't think you should be able to make slaves out of prisoners, but it is what it is. Section 2, Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Amendment 14. Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution was modified by Section 2 of the 14th Amendment. All persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of the citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to persons within the jurisdiction of equal protections under the law. Life and liberty. Liberty! Telling me I can't go to the grocery store to buy my fucking food without a goddamn vaccine, or I can't leave my house with a goddamn vaccine, is denying my liberty. My liberty to move around the country as I see fucking fit.
You suck.
Section 2. Representatives shall be appointed among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed, but when the right to the, so not taxed, so if they move off the registration, they are included. Reservations, they are included in that. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for President and Vice President of the United States represented in Congress, the executive or judicial offices of the state or the members of the legislature thereof is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such states between 21 years of age and the citizens of the United States, or in any way abridged except for participation in rebellion or other crime, the basis of representation therein shall be reduced to the portion of which the number of such male citizens shall bear the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such state. It shouldn't be just men, but it is what it is. No person shall be a senator, representative in Congress, or elected president or vice president, or to hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who have been previously taken as an oath of member of Congress, or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of any state legislation, or an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid to comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may be by 2/3 of each house removed such disability. All the Democrats that supported BLM burning down the fucking house, according to Section 3, they violated the Constitution. They violated their oath of office, and they're no longer legally constitutionally able to hold office. They should be removed immediately. Section 4, the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred, payments of pensions and bounties for services, and suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned, but neither the United States nor the state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss of emancipation of any slave, but such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Section 5. The Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions and articles changed to Sections 1 of the 26th Amendment. Here's another amendment. Amendment 15, Section 1. The rights of the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous conditions of servitude. The Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Next amendment. We're going to keep going down one by one. Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution was modified by Amendment 16. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived without apportionment among the several states and without regard to any census or enumeration. All right, Amendment 17. Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution was modified by the 17th Amendment. The Senate of the United States shall be comprised of 2 senators from each state elected by the people thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. The electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisites for electors of the numerous branch of the state legislatures. When vacancies happens in the representation of any state in the Senate, the executive authority of such state shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies, provided that the legislation of any state may be empowered the executive thereof to make the temporary appointments until the people fill the vacancies by election as the legislature may direct. The amendment shall not be construed as to affect the election of term of any senator chosen before it becomes valid as part of the Constitution. All right, here's Amendment 18, Section 1. After 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors within the import thereof into or the exportation thereof of the United States in temperate subjections, therefore, a beverage is personally is hereby prohibited. I did not realize that the sale, the prohibition of sale of alcohol was a constitutional amendment. We should probably remove this amendment via a constitutional convention. I'm just saying. The Congress and the several states shall have concurrent power to enforce the article by appropriate legislation. The article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by legislatures of several states as provided by the Constitution within 7 years from the date of the submission here by the states of the Congress. I don't know if that happened, so that maybe this is already null and void. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by the state or account of sex. Congress have power to enforce the article appropriate legislation, so that means women can vote. Article is Amendment 20. Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution was modified by Section 2 of this amendment. In addition to portions of the 12th Amendment, was superseded by Section 3. The terms of the President and the Vice President shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of the Senators and Representatives at noon on the 3rd day of January. Of the years in which such terms would have ended, if this article had not been ratified, the terms of their successors shall be then begin. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meetings shall begin at noon on the 3rd day of January, unless they shall be law appointed a different day. Section 3. If at the time fixed for the beginning of the term of the president-elect shall have died, the vice president-elect shall become the president. If a president shall not have been chosen before the time fixed for the beginning of the term, or if the president-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the vice president shall act as president until the president shall have been qualified, and the Congress may have law provided the case wherein neither a president-elect nor a vice president-elect shall have qualified, declaring who shall then act as president, or the manner in which one who is acts shall be selected, and such person shall act accordingly until the president and vice president shall be qualified. Section 4. The Congress may be, by law, provided the case of death of any of the persons for whom the White House of Representatives may choose as president, wherever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them, and for a case of the death of any of the persons from whom the Senate may choose a vice president, whenever the right of choice shall have been devolved upon them. Section 5. Section 1 and Section 2 shall take effect on the 15th day of October following the ratification of this article. Section 6. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislature of 3/4 of several states. So I don't know if it's been ratified. That information is not given here. All right, 21. Section 1. The 18th Article Amendment to the Constitution of the United States hereby repealed. Boom. The 18th Article of the Amendment to the Constitution is repealed. The transportation or importation into any state, territory, or possession of the United States for delivery or use therein of intoxicant liquors in violation of law thereby prohibited. I didn't even know that was Constitution. That's kind of crazy. The article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment by the Constitution. So maybe it wasn't ratified and it's no longer kind of thing. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. No person who has been held office, this is the one that keeps them from having multiple terms, or act as a president for more than 2 years, or term in which other persons who elected president shall be elected to the office of the president more than once. But this article shall not apply to any persons holding the office of president when this article was proposed by the Congress, or shall not prevent any persons who may be holding office, so it had a grandfather clause, or acting as president during the term within the article becomes operative, and holding the office of president or acting president during the remainder of such term. The article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by legislations by 3/4 of several states within 7 years from the date of the submission of this article. 23. The district constituting the seat of the government of the United States shall appoint in such a manner as the Congress may direct a number of electors of presidents and vice presidents equal to the number of senators and representatives in Congress to which the district would be entitled if there were a state, but in no event more than least populous state. They shall have in addition to those appointed by the states, but they shall be considered for the purposes of the election president and vice president to be electors appointed by the state, and there shall meet in the district and perform such duties as provided by the 12th article of the amendment. Section 2. The Congress shall have no power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Section 1. The right of the citizens of the United States to vote in a primary or other election for president for each elector is for president or vice president or the senator represented in Congress shall be denied or abridged by the United States or any other state by reason of failure to pay poll tax or other taxes. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Here we go. Not the next one. This is 25. We're getting there. Note, Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution was affected by the 25th Amendment. In case of the removal of the president from office of his death or resignation, the vice president shall become president. Whenever there is a vacancy in office of the president shall nominate a vice president who shall take office upon confirmation by the majority vote both houses of Congress. That's when there's a vacancy. We still should have voted on who the vice president was. Whenever the president transmits to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers of duties of his office, and until he transmits to them a written declaration to the contrary, such powers and duties shall be discharged by the vice president as acting president. Section 4. Whenever the vice president and a majority of either principal offices of the executive department or such other body of Congress may by law transmit to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office of acting president. Thereafter, when the President transmits to the President tempore of the Senate and Speaker of the House of Representatives written declaration that his inability exists, he shall resume the powers and duties of his office unless the Vice President and majority of either the principal officers of the Executive Department or such other bodies of Congress may by law provide a transmit within 4 days to the President pro tempore and the Senate and Speaker of the House Representatives the written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Thereupon, Congress shall decide the issue, assembling within 48 hours from the purpose, if not in the session, if the Congress within 21 days after the receipt of the letter written declaration, or if the Congress is not session within 21 days after Congress is required to assemble, determines by 2/3 votes of the both houses and the parent president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of the office, the vice president shall continue to discharge the same as acting president, otherwise the president shall resume his powers and duties. All right, 26. Amendment 14, Section 2 of the Constitution was modified by Section 1 of the 26th Amendment. The right of the citizens of the United States who are 18 years or older to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state accounting of age. Section 2, the Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. And Amendment 27. No law varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. These are your rights.
That's how winning is done.
There's no fucking deny them, no ifs, ands, or buts about them. And this is going to be a long fucking show today. That this fucking whole fucking thing is like this fucking constitutional piece is almost a complete fucking podcast in itself.
That's how winning is done.
These are your rights. Learn them, live them, love them, because that's how fucking winning is done. I'm just saying. But as always, I'm Dr. Mo. This has been my thought of the day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.